Hi, welcome to ThreatTraq Essentials. I'm here this week with Ganesh Kasina. How are you, Ganesh?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing?
Great. Let's take a brief look at the stories we covered on this week's ThreatTraq. First, tell me about the one you brought. It was kind of an overview of the third quarter of 2021 and the trends that we've seen in DDoS attacks. Tell me about it.
Thank you, Dan. It's about a report published by Cloudflare about the types of attacks, some artifacts about the attacks they observed during the Q3 of 2021. The key takeaway is a new DDoS attack vector, DTLS, came into the prominence, which increased by, I think, about 3,500%. And there's also emergence of a new botnet, which is leveraging vulnerable MikroTik devices.
So what are the big takeaways that we can take from the story about the trends we're seeing and how to keep safe?
Yeah, but I mean, all the advices we always give holds true in this case scenario. Basically, in case of usage of IoT devices like MikroTik, any of the IoT devices, the user should be a little bit cognizant in the sense what kind of devices they're picking up. If they have any of these devices, it's a good time to take a second look and see if any patches are available, any sorts of security controls or recommendations available to patch it. Because in any of the recent DDoS attacks, even now, even in the past, the attack vector would be always by means of having an army of vulnerable devices. Unfortunately, those vulnerable devices are always a growing number of IoT devices.
Now, Tony brought us an interesting story about some rewards being offered to turn in some ransomware gangs. Tell me about that.
Basically, U.S. government kind of offered a bounty of, I think, about $10 million, and another is $5 million. Based on what type of members information has been revealed. In this case, it's specific to dark side ringleaders who were notorious for recent attacks against, fuel line suppliers, and which they held for ransom. They kind of caused a little bit of disruption, but I think the government stepping out to basically bring the perpetrators to the law, even for the revelation of who the key leaders are, maybe who the leaderships are, who even the persons affiliated with this gang is a right step in the direction. I think this kind of basically controlling this huge threat we have, the ransomware, is I believe it's in the right directions to get the support from the government as well as other nations also.
Let's talk about another trend that's not so much going in the right direction. The story Andy brought to us about IoT, more and more IoT devices, but security doesn't seem to be keeping up with it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a really good story which is happening. I know, we all know that IoT devices, day by day, they're growing exponentially. But corresponding to that growth, there is not enough actually traction happening from the security perspectives, in the sense, every day we see sometimes, numerous new vendors coming into the IoT space offering a new IoT/smart devices. But most of these companies, it doesn't have a good security posture, in the sense, even for example, a savvy user found some vulnerability, maybe some security hole in one of the products. There is no way for a user to basically inform that and talk with the product owner. I mean, that's the sad state of the art. I think Andy's story brings that to the light. I think there's a disparity between the growth of the IoT devices as well as with respect to, I think, security aspects of those IoT devices. I think I know, especially in security, cheaper IoT devices doesn't mean better security. I think that would be the simplest message to keep in mind when shopping around for IoT/smart devices.
Okay, well, thank you for all that great insight, Ganesh. Thank you all for watching. If you want to keep up on great insights and stories like this each week, like and subscribe below. And you can, of course, watch any of these stories in their entirety and learn more about them. Thanks for watching.